Now, we have, as you were pointing out, Shajil frantically there, while speaking, our experts on the line, Roanna Carlton-Taylor. You're the co-founder of the anti-hate group Resisting Hate. Thank you for joining us, Roanna.
Very welcome.
Right. What's your view on this particular issue? Should burqa be banned? Should the burqa and the niqab be banned in the UK, as the UKIP would want us to do?
Well, we feel very strongly that it shouldn't be banned, that women have the right to dress as they please. I think, although my group does have Muslims in it, I'm not a practicing Muslim, so I don't think it's appropriate for me to comment on it from a religious perspective. But I think from a social perspective, I think it's very relevant that we are not putting ladies into a position where they feel they can't wear clothing that they feel is comfortable and appropriate for them. I think the niqab is getting an awful lot of bad press at the moment, and it's disproportionate to the dress itself, which does allow women to integrate in society, despite what the detractors say. And it does put people in a position where, as you say, they can leave their house feeling comfortable, feeling that they're dressed in a way that is appropriate to them and to their faith. And I can see no realistic reason, why we should say to these ladies, you cannot wear the garment of your choice.
Do you think there's a security issue as well, that you can't see the face? So is that an argument to promote this kind of ban?
I think to an extent it can be. I think my concern would be that anybody of any race, colour, gender could use a concealing garment to hide their identity and obviously break the law. But I think my concern would be, why should we penalise innocent women who choose to wear this garment? Why should they bear the brunt of somebody else's criminal activity? So the resources, to me, should be put into detecting criminals, not preventing the ladies themselves from wearing the garment.
And do you think, I know that UKIP didn't do very well in the council elections, but do you think this kind of agenda that is being promoted, which includes banning this kind of dress among women, do you think that's capturing the imagination of the British people and they are going to take this on, or is there a reaction against it?
I think there's a bit of both. I mean, we are aware that there are unfortunately a small minority of society who do have very Islamophobic views and who will jump on the bandwagon of UKIP's very obvious hate agenda. I think the majority of people, and I firmly believe that the majority of people in this country do accept other religions and other cultures and other ways of living, and I don't think that an agenda like this will appeal to the mainstream. I also think this is a very, very easy way of trying to get the very cheap votes. We're in a position in the country at the moment where we have major political and economic issues that we need addressing by our political parties. And I think negating that by talking about what a woman's going to wear is completely bypassing the actual problems and, like I say, appealing to a very minority vote of hardcore right-wing elitism.
So you think that is the reason behind the intention to ban religious clothing in the first place, or is there something else as well that is behind this?
I think there is an element to the fact that people do think religious clothing puts up a barrier toward integration. That's not my personal view. I honestly don't think that any of the religious clothing makes a difference. But I think it's almost to an extent where we're actually starting to marginalise people of all faiths. We're starting to very much put the country into a position where if you're not secular, you're almost seen with suspicion. And that's not just the faith of Islam. That's faiths. That's several different faiths in the country where we're starting to see this antipathy towards.
I've got a question. From a legal standpoint, would it even be possible to ban a garment or any clothing as such?
I think they would really struggle with that. They would have to have a strong reason for doing so. And so far, I've not seen any arguments against the niqab or the burqa that would actually justify banning it under UK law.
Right.
What do you think we should be doing? Should there be more education in order to stem this tide of Islamophobia in this respect?
I think education is definitely a key part of it. I mean, we were talking about this at a meeting I was at the other day. I think, for me personally, the Islamophobic tide has come about with social media. We're allowing people to express very, very negative and divisive views. And in my view, it is the social media platforms who need to be taking some action on this. So we need to put in a position where we say it is not appropriate to denigrate our Muslim communities, to make these comments toward people. And if we can stem that tide, then we can fill that gap with education and with positive stories. One of the things that my group tries to do is to put out the positive stories that the mainstream media quite often misses out. So where we have seen excellent examples of integration and positive dialogue between different communities, these stories need to be shared. So our Islamic communities are not viewed as, God forbid, the enemy, but are viewed as part of British culture.
Would you share, or would you have some sympathy in the Islamic perspective from which these kind of clothing arise from, which is that they help to preserve the dignity of a woman in society? Do you have sympathy with that view?
I think it's quite a difficult question because personally, I would not want to do that, and I think to an extent that will be masking the problem. What your previous caller said about things like anorexia, these are genuine problems, and in terms of the way women perceive themselves in society, these are massive problems. But I think they're better sorted by education than they are by masking the problem, by masking the body. What we need to do is to make women feel valued, whatever size they are, whatever shape they are, whatever they look like, and make them feel confident to be able to go out in society and say, this is me, I respect myself, and you should respect me too.
But surely if they go about in what can be called as small clothing or revealing clothing, then they're more likely to be viewed as objects, aren't they?
I think it depends. I mean, I certainly wouldn't advocate ladies going on the bus in a bikini. I think we have to be careful that we don't wear clothing that is ridiculously extreme in the revealing sense. But equally, I think uncovering the face and uncovering the body to a modest extent is appropriate. It does have a place in society, and although I would completely back the right of any lady to wear the niqab or the burqa, I would equally back the rights of women to go out and wear clothing that they feel comfortable in.
Right. But revealing clothing does not denigrate women, then, in your view?
No, it doesn't. In my view, I think it is acceptable to allow women to wear what they feel comfortable with. I think there has to be laws about revealing too much. I mean, we don't want to go into a position where we're making people feel uncomfortable by over-sexualising ourselves. I don't particularly like it on buses when I have men half naked in the summer. I think that is inappropriate. I think we have to be reasonable and realistic about these things. But equally, I don't feel that if a woman chooses to wear a short skirt, for example, I don't feel she is sexually objectifying herself. She's just wearing a piece of clothing that she feels is appropriate for her.
Okay. Right. Thanks very much, Roanna, for joining us on the breakfast show at the Voice of Islam, and thank you for sharing your views with us. Very informative.
Welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you very much indeed. Take care.
Thank you very much, and you. Bye. Thank you very much, and you. Bye.